Morning everyone, welcome back to my wildlife allotment plot. It's been a while since I last spoke to you, end of July to be precise, and I've been a bit busy over the summer, as have we all. It's been a very dry summer, as you know, but we finally had some rain, and I thought I'd show you around and talk a little bit about how I did over the summer and how everything's coming on, not least the wildlife pond, which if you can see that, you can see how fantastic it is looking. And during the drought period, I had to top it up with tap water, I'm afraid, so just to keep the birds happy and the foxes watered. But as a result, I've got some blanket weed, which I've got to get out. I've been doing a little bit each week, and it's been topped up with rainwater since quite a few times, so that's all good. So let me show you what I've been doing over the summer, and I'll take you around the plot. Well, I've managed to get some wood chip along the paths. Most of the path areas have been wood chipped now, which makes it a bit more woodlandy effect. And including up to the edge of the pond. Just to cover the soil really, the clay soil, and retain some of the moisture. So I've got that across the plot, and I'll no doubt put more layers on over the next year or two. Cosmos has done very well this year, and I think we'll get a lot of self-seeded cosmos. Also my corn there behind, I've had one large cob, and there's definitely a few more to come. Not sure how well you can see that, but I've got naturally wild seeded cyclamen growing up the bank there underneath these trees, which is absolutely wonderful. Well, in this corner behind, at the back of the pond, underneath the self-seeded sycamore tree here, I had tomatoes this year, just behind the corn over there on the left, which you can see. This was full of tomatoes, and they've done very well this year. I think there's been less blight over this year than there was last year, probably because it's been so hot. So with my glut of tomatoes, which I've enjoyed eating, by the way, absolutely delicious, I've also made 9 jars of 7 veg pasta sauce a la Jamie Oliver version, and canned them up to eat over the winter in £1 jars. So I'm really pleased with my tomato crop this year. And in the soil down here, I've put winter spinach, giant kind, and maybe that will shoot up and we'll have some spinach leaves over the winter. There's the fig tree. Seems to have grown quite well in that spot, especially since we've had some rain. And if you remember, you might want to look back how I made this dry stone wall, and I made a section there completely encased in concrete slabs to make sure that fig tree root doesn't escape. But we shall see what happens over the years anyway. To be honest, it's a bit of an experiment. And then I've got my Hugelkultur bed behind the dry stone wall, and I'm growing various herbs on that bed at the moment. Well, there's the fig tree that I planted from a cutting I took last year. I had it in the pot for the first summer, transplanted it into here last summer, and look what we've got. All that is this year's growth, plus there's another branch coming at the back, in fact 2 branches. So that looks like it's establishing itself. I think I might have to somehow prop this up so it grows a bit more upright. Otherwise it's going to end up falling over and coming out towards the camera here. Not sure if you can see this, but I've very cheekily planted a goat willow sapling that I grew from a tiny little tree, tiny little tree. It's here, I'll point it out to you here, but there's canes in front of it at the moment. It's very thin, and it's shot up in a pot over the summer, so I thought I'd better come and plant it. I've planted it right next to the wall, the dry stone wall. Not sure that's the right place, but I've got a couple of trees growing along that wall. I'm not sure if you can see up there, there's also this self-seeded ash tree here that's growing up. it looked dead in the summer, but it's actually very well established, and that's holding the wall back. So I thought, well, we'll do the same with the goat willow. My Swiss chard's done very well. That's made some lovely greens, and the slugs don't even touch it. So that's what I'll be growing a lot more of this year. Obviously, butterflies and slugs, they love the cabbages, but the Swiss chard, they don't seem to touch at all. And when you get these big leaves of Swiss chard, well, it's just like greens. It's absolutely delicious. And here's my asparagus bed. We've just passed the second summer of the asparagus, and there were 1-year-old crowns when I put them in. So I think next year we can start to harvest the asparagus. In fact, I did harvest one spear. We've got a lovely view of the society garlic down here, and the flowers are beautiful. Look at that. Here's this society garlic. It's come back. It dies down over the winter and then comes back again. And the flowers have produced these sort of seed pods, which I'm going to see if I can reuse those. I'm not sure if I can grow those from seed, but it does produce these seed pods once the flowers have finished flowering. And you can chop and drop the society garlic, but it tastes like peppery, garlicky flavour. Quite strong. It's delicious. And I've been picking it all summer. And the Swiss chard there makes a lovely backdrop behind the society garlic. I'm moving round. This bed here now in the centre there is where I had my potatoes this year. I mean, I used the Ruth Stout method, which was basically put the seed potatoes straight on the soil, the clay soil, and then mulch over the top with very rough mulch. You can still see it there in the middle, and then let the potatoes do the rest. No digging, no earthing up. I did have enough. I had a couple of green bits, but not much. And a very successful potato crop. I'm going to slip in a couple of little clips now to show you. I did take part in the 2022 single seed potato challenge, but having seen Steve's effort from the Digwell Greefingers channel, I think I'll give up, because I got I think about 1 kilogram of potatoes off of one seed potato. I know maybe I should have divided it up, but now I've seen how it should be done, I might try that next year, dividing a single potato up, including little eyes and so on, and see what I can get from those. Moving on. So the next bed down is my leeks and onions bed, which I didn't water enough this year, but anyway, I've got some leeks and I've had some onions, and yeah, so they're still growing in there at the moment. And I've got some spring onions down here in the corner, which I can start harvesting soon. Well, that was my broad bean bed earlier this year, but that didn't do very well. So I didn't plant anything in the summer after I took the broad beans out, because it was too dry. It was rock hard. So what I decided to do was just sow some over-wintering mustard or something of that kind to either chop and drop or dig in the spring to try to break this soil up. So there you can see the pathway that goes up alongside the dry stone wall from the east side to the west side of the plot, running along the south bottom of the bank there. And if I pan round here, you can see my raspberry structure. I had quite a few raspberries from there this year, very pleased with that. And then I've got currants in front of the raspberries, and the floor is covered in strawberries. I'm going to have a little tidy up. You can see the path running to the front of the allotment plot here, and the strawberries are flowing around and doing their own thing. I've just let them do what they want, really. But I think I'm going to have a little bit of tidy up at some point. I want to make a bit more room over here in amongst the currants to maybe plant a few annuals, sort of brassicas and so on. See if I can get a bit more out of those beds. I still haven't trimmed the grass on the bank yet, but I've got to do it, I think, in September. I think I'll try and have a go at that before it gets out of control. Well, there you go, guys. That's a quick tour of my wildlife allotment plot. Update mid-September. And I think I've done well this year. I'm not being too like over enthusiastic on making sure I get a big harvest, but I've really enjoyed it this year, and I've got a lot of produce that I am pleased with. And I'm more pleased that the wildlife pond has come on so well, and the birds and the foxes and other insects love it. So yeah, I'll bring you back when I've got something more to share with you guys. Take care and see you soon. Bye.